Hey, this is D. I wanted to make another video. I haven't really done anything for the last 2 weeks. I wanted to give myself an opportunity to continue to participate in the nonviolent revolution. That's what I like to call it. I don't like to call it just a protest that's going on in this country and around the world. So for the last couple of weeks since the video of Put It on the Line, as you guys probably known in the media and what's going on, you have a lot more athletes getting involved, and you have a lot more celebrities getting involved, so that I want to say thank you, and how proud I am of of our black brothers and sisters that's getting involved in the nonviolent revolution that's going on. And Before I even go into what I want to talk about, I want to say how proud I am, and how you know thankful and how inspired I am by the brother Stephen Jackson, that's out on the front lines, and mobilizing, living in his purpose, and living in his calling. So what's up, what's up, Stephen Jackson? Keep doing your thing, brother. And Some of the other brothers in the NBA, Kyrie, who definitely had a different opinion about the NBA starting back up. I could touch a little bit on that. Matter of fact, since I'm talking about it, why don't I go ahead and go into it? I definitely heard the response back from Stephen A. Smith on what Stephen Jackson said, and you know, really disappointed. I don't want to get into that. I think that that's something that they should have addressed privately, both of them. But we all understand the magnitude of what's going on. We all understand that there's always going to be, and we've all heard this from prior black activists in this country about to get true liberation and true justice. There's about anywhere from, and I'm going to be conservative when I say this, 50% of blacks that we would have to either disregard or dispose of for us to get true liberation and true justice, because they've been sitting on the porch so long, or in the house so long. They will actually stop us from getting true liberation and true justice, and eradicating systemic racism. So we already know that those of us that are black, and maybe some of us that's not black, understand the same thing as well. So that's on that topic. But what's been disconcerting about that I was talking about, been disconcerting, and somewhat why I haven't really talked on social media, is that I have been a part of protests where I can actually say that I have witnessed the watering down of the protest. You know, and the agenda of the protest, the direction of the protest, what we're all trying to address, not only the police brutality, but really addressing racism, and the systemic racism that's in the core of our society. Which, in my opinion, the only way to address the brutality is that you got to cut off the head of the snake, which is the systemic racism. You have to address that issue. And so I've seen a lot of watering down of the protests, from anything from, Black Lives Matter cover all blacks. It doesn't make a difference if you're a black woman, or you're black and you're part of the LGBT community, or if you are whatever, if you're black, a black dog, a black cat. I mean, we covered everything. And so I feel like there's other organizations coming out trying to push their agenda. And and I feel like that always tends to happen. And but what's really discerning to me, that somewhat got me, I could say I'm a little upset about it, is that there's other things going on in the protests. brown lives matter, and the brown LGBT community, and the brown you know uh, um, women's lives matter, and then you have, of course, the all lives matter. And we all understand that all lives matter, and I'm pretty sure many people have said this on social media. But it seems like every time that blacks are looking to truly address the issues of justice, of liberation, and racism in this country, there's always a watering down of us truly addressing our issues. It was that way in the 1960s, in the civil rights movement, and it's been that way in every single movement that we've had in this society since we've been here. And in my opinion, it's done intentionally, and it's done intentionally, and it's disconcerting, and it's actually it's sad. So that's what I've been really dealing with for the last couple of weeks is speaking at protests, witnessing the watering down of the protests, witnessing no collaboration, no organization by different protest organizers, and then watching the Democrats and the Republicans, put together their form of what they feel legislation needs to be to address the issue of police brutality. And only thing that I could say about that is we need to have a contingency plan. Because if you're expecting a system that has had over 400 years of systemic racism embedded in its society, and also have gained economic stability off the backs of blacks, is somehow going to change that in 2020. I think that we're looking at by the legislation just put forward, they have no intentions on dealing with systemic racism in their departments, and nor do they have any intentions on dealing with holding the police accountable, truly holding them accountable. They keep talking about a lot of training. They need a lot of training. They don't need no training. You don't need training to treat a human being with love and compassion and with decency, and to treat them equally. You don't need training to do that. You either have that or you don't have that. And if you look at people like me and other blacks and you feel like you don't have that in your heart, there's not any training you could get that's going to change that. So now I would say that we need to come up with a contingency plan. And I've been saying this the whole time. What is the contingency plan? What is the contingency plan? If you have a nation in which you live in that's willing to die to keep things status quo, and you're not willing to die to change things to status quo, then what is your contingency plan? And the only thing that I could think of the contingency plan should be is that we know that they're not going to change. So as a black community, we have to change. We have to say Black Lives Matter, and it starts with us, and it starts in our community. That means we got to take our community back. There can't be 50 shootings in our community and 9 casualties in a weekend or in a week. I mean, there can't be, someone pushing dope on a corner. There can't be a lot of the issues that go on our community. So only thing we could change is what deals with us, because we know. Right now, we could burn this country down, and it's not going to change. They're not going to change. It's not going to happen. So then we have to do some self-reflection. And like Michael Jackson would say, we got to look at the man in the mirror in our community and say, now what can we do? What can we do to change it? Because they're not going to budge unless there's full anarchy in a society or some type of revolution. They're not going to change. And if we don't want to do that, and we have a lot of blacks in the community saying, no, we don't want to do violence. We don't, we need to do this peacefully. We need to do it the same way we've been doing it. And that's the way we're going to get justice and liberation. If we sing "We Shall Overcome" or "Change is Going to Come" by by Otis Redding, or is it Sam? Whoever it is by. Change ain't coming, and we ain't overcoming because we are in an empire that this is what this empire was founded on, and this is probably what this empire is going to end on. It's systemic racism. So change ain't coming. So I'm just saying my opinion is that we start with our own community. We go back to the 1%. In the last video that I put it on a line. I don't understand why they can't support that change, why they can't put it on the line in their own community and help make that change. They have the economical resources. They have the political resources. You know, they are embedded in entertainment. Why can't we create a Black Wall Street in 2020? Why can't the $100 million that Michael Jordan said to disperse over 10 years not be given to an organization, a nonprofit organization, with the 40 million, with other monies from other celebrities and other sports figures, be put into that organization to create black hospitals, black banks, black manufacturing, to help start up black small businesses? Why can't a VC group be put together to assist with blacks trying to create internet platforms to get those off the ground for the black community? I mean, why can't a struggling HBCU be bought by the black 1% of wealth and the education be paid for those young black young men and women who have the academic qualifications to get their higher education? I mean, why can't some of those things take place? I mean, so in my opinion, it starts with us saying, you know, our contingency plan is we ain't getting it from you. We just ain't getting it from you. We're not getting it from you unless the black leadership stop trying to rock everybody to sleep and say, okay, we need to do it peacefully. Because peacefully ain't working. And it has never worked for us. So if we ain't going to do it violent, if we're not going to, you know, do it violently, then my suggestion is that then we have to just start with ourselves. We have to start with ourselves. And going back to this whole, you know, peaceful revolution, I would say that, you know, sometimes I hope we, because I can't say blacks, I hope we learn that sometimes it may be better to lift up someone who is boots on the ground, who is mobilizing it in their calling and in their purpose, Stephen Jackson, and get behind him and give him the resources he needs. Support him, not getting on your platform and saying something. Sometimes I think it's best that we not let people know what we're doing. I told somebody, it's like me having a conversation with God. You know, I go and have a private conversation with God. And then I go walk right out of that conversation with God. And I go to the devil and I tell him exactly what my conversation with God was. Sometimes we don't need 50, 60, 70 people talking about what we need to do, how we need to do it, why we need to do it. Sometimes those great minds in our community need to get together by themselves, come up with a plan, and execute it. Because it seems like, and to be mindful of who you have in the room. Because more than likely, you're going to have one of those house brothers, black people, or porch brothers and sisters in those meetings, and they're going to go out and tell it anyway. But I still think it's better to do it that way than to be out telling everybody what we should do, how we should do it, why we should do it, tell them what our plan is, because they're not going to do nothing but sabotage the plan. So, and that's what I'm saying about Stephen Jackson. Maybe you're not you weren't the face of what people would think of leadership or this movement should look like. But what I'm saying is that maybe we all should have just, you know, supported Stephen Jackson and let him lead, you know, prayed about it and said, hey, you know what? This brother's been called, then let him lead, and we're going to support him. We're going to step to the background and get behind his brother and lift him up. which sometimes doesn't happen in our community. But I think in this situation, it should. I think we should lift him up to greatness, lift the cause up to greatness, lift the purpose up to greatness, lift the movement up to greatness. All of us, even the 1% that like to be in the media and use their platforms. So anyway, on that note, I think I said enough. I'm gonna go. Actually, I'm supposed to be taking care of something right now, but I just wanted to jump back on and give my opinion about that. And the other thing is that I would like to say is we can't, you know, we can't expect as Black people for anyone to do right by us if we're not doing right by us. We can't. We just can't. We have to start doing right by us. You know, hell with everybody else. We got to do right by us. You know, and stop waiting on, other people to accept us or to liberate us, to give us justice or to eradicate systemic racism. We got to do right by us. On that note, I'm out of here. I love you guys. Stay safe. And keep the revolution going. Keep the peaceful revolution going. We all in this together, and to my brothers and sisters of all races, you're appreciated in this movement or in this revolution. You're appreciated, and I would say that we appreciate your support. But more importantly, to my brothers and sisters that's Black, that's on the ground and have boots and it's mobilizing. Much love to you guys, and keep it going. Out.